So welcome everyone to The Jump. If you've never watched this new series, it is all about the jump that we have to make in our lives to go from living mechanically to living on purpose, to living within our mission, to living as the highest manifestation of ourselves as a human being. And why do I call it The Jump? It's based on a Steve Harvey talk that you should look up on Facebook or look up on the YouTube if you haven't already, called The Jump, in which Steve Harvey says that in order to be successful, at some point you have to jump off that cliff. You have to make a leap of faith. You have to risk it all in pursuit of your dream. And he says that you will hit the cliff. You will hit the rocks. You may blow your back out. But at some point, your parachute will fly and you will soar. So you have a choice. Stay on the edge of the cliff, be safe, but don't fly, or jump and have faith that your parachute will open and then you'll begin to fly. So I have interviewed Miss Nzinga Nomo of Afriware Books. Give me 1 second.
Oh yes, I can edit it.
I'm the author of Sune's Gift. My book is distributed, is sold through Afriware Books. So I have interviewed Miss Nzinga Nomo about her bookstore, Afriware Books, and how she decided to jump in order to create a bookstore. And she went from being an electrical engineer to being a bookstore owner. And now we're turning the tables, because I've never told you all, the audience, about my jump. So she's going to interview me about my jump from, I won't even tell you what it is, but my jump from whatever it was I was doing becoming the author of Sune's Gift and doing much more with it. So thank you for interviewing me, Mrs.
Oh, what a pleasure and an honor again. And it's just, we have become such good friends over this weekend.
Indeed.
And just experiencing such great excitement, you know,
Yes.
the event that we were
Yes,
a part
yes,
of.
yes.
But I'm so glad that you reached out to a Black-owned bookseller. I mean, that deserves praise in and of itself.
Thank you.
You know, authors, some authors are just not that savvy. Once they sign on the dotted line with a major publishing house, they don't necessarily think that, okay, when I'm going on the road doing my book signings, I need to seek out and request specifically Black booksellers.
Yes.
But first of all, praise and congratulations
Thank you.
for publishing yourself.
Yes.
That's a major deal. And then prior to that, taking this big jump.
Yes.
So, oh my goodness, after your first email to me with your link to your TED Talk, I was just like, oh my goodness, this young woman is living the American dream. She's just,
Yes.
your background is just star-studded. And so I'm hoping you'll start there.
Yes.
Where you're making lots of money.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is a challenge to decide to make that change from
Absolutely.
and become an author.
Absolutely.
And of course many other great things. But
Absolutely.
what started you on that path?
Yes.
And what is your mission?
Sure. So I believe that my mission in life is to create and disseminate empowering stories. I think that the stories that we tell ourselves shape the lives that we lead. And there's tons of psychological research to back this up.
Absolutely.
If you tell yourself that you're wonderful, if you tell yourself that you can do it, if you tell yourself that you're capable, you will do it and you will be capable. However, if you tell yourself, I'm incapable, I'm unworthy, that false truth will play out. And so what is my goal as a human being? To create empowering stories that allow people to soar to new levels, that allow people to see themselves in a positive, powerful life, so that we all, through these positive stories, can be the change we wish to see in the world and create the changes that we need with respect to issues of racism, sexism, social injustice, poverty, warfare, whatever it may be that happens on earth that we don't like. If we change our own personal stories, if we change our collective stories, my hope is that we can change the world. So I want to empower people through stories to soar to new levels and thereby change the world.
Oh my goodness, what a need there is for this in today's society.
Yes, yes.
And on every single channel,
Yes.
2579, you name it, it's Nothing but negative.
Negative.
Nothing but negativity.
Yes.
So if for just the reason to balance that,
yes,
it is all very worthwhile,
yes,
your work, what
yes,
you're doing. So
yes.
I applaud.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And so you didn't touch yet on what you were doing
Yeah.
before
Okay.
you made the decision to
Oh
write
my
the
goodness,
book.
yeah. So before starting Sune's Gift, which is my first book of many to come, 2 are written, more are being written, I was a corporate attorney. So I went on this very traditional path. So, you know, Ms. Nzinga and I have discussed going to school, trying our best to do well. I came from an immigrant background. Both my parents are from Ghana. Education was really stressed. My father came to this country to get a PhD. So we were people who were constantly being like told to do well in school, do well in school, do well in school. I tried my best to do well in school. I was my valedictorian in middle school. But in addition to being valedictorian, I got a scholarship to go to this very prestigious boarding school in Pennsylvania through a program called the Albert G. Oliver Program. They choose 60 students in all of New York City to give them access to elite prep schools, and I was thankfully chosen. So I go off to boarding school. It's a great Quaker boarding school. I recommend it for anybody who has like a 12-year-old thinking about high school, 12, 13-year-old, a Quaker boarding school called George School. Do well, do the International Baccalaureate program there, you know, graduate, you know, with top honors. I was in the top 10% of my class. Go on to Harvard University, study social studies. My father is gearing me towards investment banking. He's like, that's where the money is. He had read a book that's in your store by Reginald Lewis, Why Should White Boys Have All the Fun? Yes. He's like, don't let the white boys have all the fun. You can do investment banking, do investment banking. So I did investment banking at Bank of America Securities. I then decided I didn't like investment banking. I like telecom equity research. So you, Mr. Nzinga is a telecom engineer. I used to pick telecom stocks. So that was my background. So I used to cover like AT&T wireless, etc. So I was covering wireless stocks. So I become an investment banker, then a telecom equity researcher, stock picking. I decided it's time to go to grad school. I go on to the University of Pennsylvania Law School and the Wharton School to become this high-powered, you know, corporate attorney. I'm working at White Shoe Law Firm, Cleary Gottlieb, Stephen Hamilton as an attorney. Then I moved on to be in-house at a major financial institution, Citigroup, as a corporate attorney. So how on earth?
Exactly.
That was my job. And so yes, if you're listening to my path, it was incredibly mechanical because for the most part, I got a lot of my jobs through recruiting. So, you know, you go to high school, you do well, you apply to college, get into Harvard. At Harvard, all these companies swoop in, right? And so this is just the thing to do. A lot of us go on to banking and consulting. So you just do your, you know, on-campus, like OCI, on-campus interviewing, and I get a job. Hooray, I got a job at Bank of America Security. You're just going through kind of the motions, going through the motion. Right. Same thing, went to UPenn and Wharton, did on-campus interviewing, got a job at Wall, just going through the motions. Not thinking to myself, is being a bond attorney the highest manifestation of myself as a human being? And people, don't get me wrong, it's not like I hated the work. It was a nice office. I worked with nice people. There were some aspects of it that I enjoyed. So do not, I mean, I'm not going to say it was drudgery. Like, you know, there were some decent aspects of it. But was it my calling?
Was it your best evolution of
yourself? I don't think so. And so I wound up writing this book, Sune's Gift, after a very rough experience at a barber shop. So many of you who follow me have heard this story. I talk about it in my TED Talk. I talk about it elsewhere. So basically, I take my big boy, I have 2 boys, take my big boy, who was 3 at the time, to a barber shop. I tell the barber, do not shave off all his hair, just, you know, make it shorter. And this is a black barber at a Jamaican barber shop. The barber says, the barber begins to proceed to shave off all his hair, and from here. So it can't be turned into a mohawk or a fade because it's being shaved off from here. And I say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you shaving all his hair? He says, how can I tell you this? You have a real Nigger or Nigga, whatever you want to spell it, right here. He's a native boy. He's from the tribe. This is not pretty here. This is the best cut for him. And at the time, I was arrested by the experience. I did not say a negative word to him. I paid him. I gave him a tip. I was just arrested by the experience. But I was saddened by it in the core of my being. Yes. Because of this black man basically saying that tightly coiled, kinky hair. My hair used to be kinkier. Now, I'm in my mid-30s, so it's not, it's loosening or, a little bit. But my son has the original hair I had. That this kinky hair is unworthy and needs to be shaved all off. Like, this is basically his point. And I was just hurt by it. And I was just looking at I was in the shop. And it was a clearly bleached Jamaican woman with a lace front wig. And I thought to myself, my goodness, people of African descent all over
What are we doing?
are just struggling with the very facts of our existence. Like, the word Africa means land of the sun. We're from a sunny place. People from sunny places have darker skin tones, right? Kinky hair, I believe, is supposed to allow more air to pass through because of the spirals, to protect the hair from the sun. Whatever it is, there's an evolutionary reason why we look the way we look.
That's right.
And to struggle with that, to spend your time not thinking, what creative work should I do? Or what, what writing should I do? Or what, invention should I come up with? But to spend so much of your time just struggling with the very facts of your existence as an African descendant.
That's right.
Dark skin, kinky hair. Let me, get a lace front and put it on me. Let me get bleaching creams and bleach out my skin. I was just like, what can I do about it? What can I do about this?
So, oh my goodness, let me just pause
Yes,
right here,
please.
because what you're talking about, it is so heart-wrenching.
Yes.
To witness that depth
Yes.
of self-hatred.
Yes.
How racism has been internalized. And
Absolutely.
whether it's coming from a racist or someone who looks like that, it is just, it is hurtful. It is so hurtful. And I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
I'm just so thankful that you didn't allow it to totally paralyze you.
Yes.
I mean, that sends people into depression and paralysis.
Yes.
And so, to those, who may be at this point, there is serious hope, That is not, by any stretch of the imagination, who we are as a people. And there is a plethora of information to support that very fact. It is not just us, doing a nice, rah-rah story. There is evidence in stone, in the temples in Egypt or Kemet. You can go there and see it for yourself, the glory of our race. And I'm just so thankful that you didn't stop it.
Yes.
Stop there. You didn't let that stop anything.
Yes.
And you turned the corner at that point.
Absolutely.
Please
Absolutely.
continue.
No, I'm glad that you bring this up because it's internalized racism, and the experience I had the day after kind of shows you how the external racism has been internalized. So the next day, I'm sad. I'm staying at my mom's house. I'm watching TV. The Fashion Police comes on with Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers sees Solange at the Great Gatsby premiere with a beautiful afro, in my opinion, makes a comment. She looks okay in that dress, but how could she wear an afro to the red carpet? I mean, I like afros as much as anyone else, but to the red carpet. So basically, she was calling Solange an N-I-G-G-E-R. She was saying, your N-I-G-G-E-R here is not red carpet worthy.
That's what you call the subtle racism.
Thank you.
We were talking about
Thank
that.
you.
In so many words.
So unfortunately, black people and that Barbara have co-opted the word N-word, and so now they're using it freely. Many white people wouldn't use it freely, but it's the same result. Your N-I-G-G-E-R here is not red carpet worthy. So I was just like, what? We're getting this from our own. We're getting this from, the Fashion Police, and you all know about the Zendaya case that happened with the Fashion Police, so they continued on that path. And I was like, how can I create a story of healing? So thankfully, I had a spiritual epiphany through Super Soul Sunday on OWN, in which a speaker named Marianne Williamson said that if you want to write, if you want to be an artist, basically all you have to do is pray. So I started praying on the story. The story is Sune's Gift, which I hope you will read. And I love writing. I love writing and creating this book. Like, I created a publishing company for it. I did a Kickstarter campaign. All these people were at the back of the book, of people supported the Kickstarter in order to get it out. And you feel so close to God when you create. It's like, God said, let there be light, there was light. I said, let there be an empowering story, and there was a story. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm God clearly, but I'm saying there's God within me. Absolutely. And that God dwells within you, and God dwells within all of you. And so it's a beautiful feeling. You can tap in. Your artistry, your inventions, your engineering, it is tapping into that
directly.
Divine
Directly.
divine source of creativity.
You don't need a middleman.
Directly.
No.
And so I created this, but was still a corporate lawyer and spending the vast majority of my time doing it. And for any of you that are authors out there, this is not something you can do half-time, people, and expect any relative modicum of success. If Candlewood Press and Simon & Schuster and the big giants are not behind you, how do you promote a book as just unknown Karikari Yawson?
I'm telling you.
Without devoting every inch of yourself to it.
Absolutely. The big boys.
Yes.
I mean, they really command the public's attention.
Yes.
And so for a
small individual.
Not necessarily just small,
but individual.
For a self-published book to get any attention, oh my goodness.
You got to devote so much time and energy.
And make sure, do your homework, talk to independent booksellers.
Yes.
That is the...
Yes.
We have to come together on that. That's a need for that. That's
absolutely,
critical.
absolutely.
It's just critical. Otherwise, I mean, if you're not known, it's kind of like when you go for an interview for a job. They ask you, do you have any job experience?
Thank you.
No.
How do you get experience without experience?
And that's why authors like L.A. Bates they all have to give credit to the bookseller because we help them get their start. And that is exactly what you're doing.
Because people are like, oh my goodness. So I told you my mission is empowering stories. I told you that I started out as a corporate lawyer. I haven't told you how I jumped yet, but I told you basically I wanted to make a jump from being a corporate lawyer full-time, working, many hours a day, writing bond prospectuses, to being a full-time author. This feeling of creation was so beautiful. I wanted to create more. And I wanted my work, my goal is disseminating the stories. So I can't just print them and have them sitting in my garage or my basement. Someone has to get it out there. And I was realizing that the time it takes as an independent person to get it out there is not time you have just on weekends while raising 2 kids, people.
Okay.
I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. There's no time to do work. I'm like there at the Children's Museum, there, caring for them, feeding them. So something had to give.
Absolutely.
Something had to give.
Mm-hmm.
Something had to give. And so I had to figure out how to jump, how to go from, corporate lawyer completely to author, publisher,
entrepreneur, promoter, marketer. When you first start your own business, you are the janitor, you are every hat you can possibly wear.
Yes.
But I think you all have like a running start with that.
Okay, because we've already been jumping to a certain extent. Because as a mother, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're a nanny, you are a home caretaker because you're paying bills.
Yeah, so you have a running start, and then you really, you could jump easier than as a mother. Just that one qualification all by itself.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But then it also creates another barrier too. Because you're like, I'm a mother, I have kids, how am I jumping when I need to provide for these 2 people who did not ask to be brought into the world, who I'm responsible for. So it was incredibly challenging. So I tell you, before I decided to quit, it's like I couldn't sleep at night, folks. I could not sleep before you believe me. I realized something had to give.
Totally.
Something had to give. And I had to come to a point where I chose me. Right? You can continue to wait to be chosen. Maybe Mama Oprah, and I still email Mama Oprah all the time. Maybe Mama Oprah will, feature my book or bring me on Super Soul Sunday because I'd love to be on Super Soul Sunday. But hey, before I can expect to be chosen, I have to choose myself. And so I went through an entire process of trying to figure out how to get my expenses lower to feel comfortable jumping. I refinanced my student loans.
Okay.
I let go of my nanny. Thankfully, you said the universe opened the way for you in terms of you being able to get a voluntary exit package. For me, the universe moving was my parents moving around the corner.
Okay.
They bought a house around the corner for me. And so that made me feel more comfortable letting go of my nanny, because if I couldn't get to their school on time, my mother was so close by and would be able to do it. So my mother, one, she retired. That was a part of the universe working for me. And two, my mother and father both moved around the corner. And so refinancing student loans, going over my nana to take care of child expenses, or to lower child care costs. Started trying to go to different supermarkets to save more money. I mean, just trying to restructure my life so that it could be cheaper, so that I could save some money to feel comfortable jumping.
You were using your skill set.
Yes.
For yourself.
Yes.
Instead of
for somebody else.
That's really what you were doing.
For somebody else. And so, of course it was hard. I was literally unable to sleep. As time was coming, because I kind of gave myself a deadline. Hey, you get to this amount of money, and then you're jumping. And I was just couldn't sleep. But what struck me, and these were the different signs from the universe. I had done a TED Talk, as Ms. Nzinga had mentioned, and another one of the speakers, her name is Professor Natalie Nixon, that talked about the power of intuition and how intuition should be your guide towards success. And so I felt like I was getting all these signs from the universe, in the blog posts, Facebook those photos, comments, photos people said. I mean, literally everywhere I looked, there were quotes. Alice Walker has a quote, a life worth living is worth fighting for. If you really want to live a life worth living on your own terms, it's worth fighting for. Seeing that. Another quote I saw, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I was like, oh my God, fear. In that same TED Talk, Professor Natalie Nixon said that the worst feeling you could ever have in life is regret. And I was like, won't I regret it?
Oh, that is the question to ask before you jump.
Before you jump.
There will never be a perfect time for something like this. Never a perfect time.
Absolutely not. There's never a perfect time.
But you do the best.
The best.
The best you can.
Under the circumstances.
And then you make that.
Oh my goodness.
And you did the best by doing your homework and checking. Is there something else that I can do to position myself? So that this is as smooth as possible.
Yes.
And that was so important. So
it's never perfect, but
no, it's never
I tried. So that was my journey. So for any of you out there who are trying to go from corporate lawyers to being a book author, that was a part of the jumping process. The refinancing of the loans, the paring down on child care costs, just trying to pare down expenses and save to feel comfortable.
Now, let me ask you this. As an author, there's a gazillion authors. I get so many books to review.
I'm sure.
How are you distinguishing yourself or repackaging yourself to present, to sell this particular
Absolutely.
book?
I'm glad you asked that question, because this is part of the question I asked you as an independent bookseller. I think a part of the process is really coming to a place where you are willing to offer all that you have. Put every fiber of your being on the table in service of the mission. So I should just keep on being pushed to challenge myself. So when I first wrote this book, I would just do regular traditional readings. But the thing is, and this is why they say no experience is wasted, I entered storytelling contests from the age of 4th grade.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like a queen storytelling champion in my childhood. I would won for PS156, I won for my district, I went on to the Queen's Championship. I forgot my story, the last round of the Queen's Championship. So this was my heartbreak when I was a little kid. So then I started memorizing the story. I've been prepared. So I started memorizing the story so they could become a storyteller and more performance aspect of it. I read a lot on the subject of education and imagery and so forth. So I started offering professional development courses to teachers. Then of course I write a lot. I've been published in the Huffington Post, the Atlantic, MSNBC, Madame Noir, Blavity. So then I started offering writing courses to kids, just more, whatever it is I need. I used to take dance lessons in my childhood. I teamed up with a drummer who would choreograph dances for me to do during storytelling. So literally bringing everything I had. Do I have to dance? Do I have to learn how to sing? Do I have to learn do I have to memorize stories? Do I have to learn how to, do I have to teach writing? Do I have to I'm bringing in legal components of bullying into my offering. So in order to try to make myself sustainable, because our goal is wealth, right? So this is our goal is living on purpose, but also living abundantly. Not so that we can all have 100,000 square foot mansions and drive Bentleys. No, we want to live on purpose so that we have more money to give to the causes that we love.
That's it.
Right? Money is an ingredient. It is a tool for creating the change that we want in life. Not just our voices, not just our art, but also our money. And so we want money to come in. So I'm like, how do I like make my package more irresistible by offering, legal knowledge, whatever it is I can in my workshops, in my writing, so that I can just bring more, be more, create more, attract more. And so that is how I would say I'm distinguishing myself as an author. Not all authors are going to engage in storytelling.
Right.
Not all authors are going to dance while engaging in storytelling.
Exactly.
Not all authors are going to come and make whole courses for you and your school staff. So if I go to a school, I'm selling them the book, right? But I'm also selling services in order to make it more compelling. Doing, the author readings, doing the teacher professional development, doing the writing courses for young people. I teach at colleges, and then bringing legal expertise on various issues to teach at colleges. So it's literally, as an author, I'm not just an author, I'm also now a speaker, an educator, a legal educator. I will also share my experiences and teach on issues of self-publishing. Because like I've done it before, I'm willing to go to libraries and teach courses on how to, publish your book, or how, literally, my strategy as an author is bringing every single aspect of myself as a human being, being willing to learn, to create a uniquely me offering.
So this is so beautiful what you described. Oh my goodness. Comparing that to creativity on the job is no comparison.
Oh my goodness.
What you're talking about is truly living this life on purpose.
Yes.
And don't you think that's why we're here? Isn't that why the creator brought
Absolutely. I think
there's an abundance that we've been given.
Yes.
We're supposed to explore that.
Explore our full potential.
On the job, there's someone else's paradigm and it's confined.
Rigid. Yes.
And now you can just burst out and grow and discover.
Absolutely.
And that is just so beautiful.
Absolutely.
That you're willing to tweak, right? Your original,
plan, whatever it is.
Exactly. To fit the needs of whatever the demand is at the time.
Yes.
And that flexibility is, I think, what will keep you here forever.
From your mouth to God's ears, because we know it's not like, so, with the whole parachute metaphor, it's like what roadblocks are you gonna, so I'm in a money roadblock, right? A money part, I wouldn't say roadblock, but money hitting the cliffs. It's like, oh my God, the money that I thought would last XYZ amount of months, is not lasting that month, it's going quicker because unforeseen, expenses are coming up, the unforeseen ways in which I have to pay more money, so certainly that's a cliff. I mean, this disappointment every day. Disappointment, I try my best on days that I'm not like here interviewing and doing that sort of work, on days when I don't have a presentation, to contact like tons of people. Like I contacted your bookstore, I'm emailing bookstore. So many people do not answer. So I'm grateful to you, Ms. Nzinga, for answering, for saying, yes, I'm receiving this. Yes, I'm looking at this book. Yes, I like this book. Yes, I'm going to order XYZ copies of the book. Like, that is a win. But there's so many just lack of wins. There's so many times people say, no, we don't. So the rocks on the cliff are just the rocks of rejection too, for me as an artist.
And as you have stated before, they're also telling you, do you need to tweak in some other way?
That's true.
It's just a message.
That's true.
To decide, is this something I need to consider? Is there something else I need to consider?
Yes, absolutely.
That's how it should be viewed instead of a negative.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's also, that also helps you with your audience and figuring out how you're going to market yourself. Because if I'm like getting a lot of answers or a lot of positive feedback from certain sort of schools, a certain group of schools, or a certain group of bookstores, or whatever the case may be, it shows me, hey, this is my marketplace, this is my tribe. Go towards that direction and go away from these other people who are not necessarily responsive. But don't get me wrong, I email people here again and again and again and again, hoping that at some point,
this was so important too.
at some point it all jives.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that kind of fire.
Yes.
To bring that to the table, it is catchy.
Yes.
to see an author so engaged and so excited about their own material.
Oh,
and we
yes.
cannot be, we cannot, a lot of times, you can't be more excited about a book than the author themselves.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
so when you come with all of that fire and brimstone, it's like, oh yeah, let's do it.
That's true, because I did. So I'm here, staying with Miss Nzinga, living in her home for my Chicago visit. Okay, but yes, I didn't email her or call her once. I emailed and called her multiple times. So it shows you also have to be persistent, especially when you feel as if this is a great fit. You're like, this is a bookstore. I need to be here.
Gotta work.
This gotta work. This gotta work. Don't one no to me is not a no. You just have to always kind of hear yes, be willing, accept it as a message. Maybe you go to a different course, but you also kind of just keep at it.
Absolutely.
Just keep at it. Just keep at it. Because jumping is not for the faint of heart, people.
Say that again. Say that again.
Jumping's not for the faint of heart.
No. I mean, oh gosh, how many times, like you said, do you hear the word no?
Yes.
That has to be completely turned over on its head.
Yes.
And you say, well, what else does this mean? Because as the creator would not have you here by accident.
Oh wow, love it.
You
Please
are
repeat that.
absolutely
The creator would not have you here
by accident.
Yes.
It's just a matter of tuning
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
so that you can bring that fullest
Yes.
sense of yourself,
Yes.
that greatest part of
Yes.
yourself. And I just
Yes.
love, hearing your story
Yes. You
about how
remind
you've
me.
done that. Yes.
Yes, you remind me of something else that was on sort of my journey of all these nudges. But there's a Denzel Washington clip of him talking to actors saying, the ambition, the passion you have towards your craft is proof in of itself of your ability to succeed and reach your intended goal. Because God would not put that fire within you
That's right.
without there being the requisite, supplies in the universe
To support it.
to support it. To support it.
Because if you are simply measuring on the money alone,
Yes.
the affirmation from greater
External.
society
Yes.
alone,
Yes.
oh gosh, you will be out of here so quickly. It has to be internalized. It
Yes.
has to come from within. And from within is this wellspring
Yes.
that you're drawing from. It is abundant. It
Yes.
never runs out.
Yes.
It never runs out.
Yes.
And so when you feel those bumps along the
Yes,
way,
yes.
that's just saying, okay, wait a minute. You know
Yeah.
that it is your right
Yes.
to draw from the wellspring. It just means you might have to change things
Yes.
just a little bit because
Yes.
that is what you deserve.
Absolutely.
You deserve the greatest.
I think we should end on that. How could it doesn't get better than that.
That's
Because you deserve the best. So people, jump. Because you deserve the best. Jump because you deserve the best. And anything less is settling. Anything less leads to regret. Jump because you deserve the best.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.